Hello, welcome to Bildung and Culture. In the series 101 Books to Form a Soul, we propose today an analysis of Les Fleurs du Mal from Charles Baudelaire. This book has been written by Charles Baudelaire. It's a book of poetry and it is composed of 6 parts. The main theme is lyricism in the age of industrialization. Secondary themes are evil, idleness, travel, dreams and ideals, allegory, monstrosity, memory, reminiscence, crowd. Historical context. The Paris of the Second Empire saw the Ottoman transformation and the active industrialization of the country. The poet, like the swan caught in a net, tries to fly away, but cannot. He struggles painfully in a rather vain lyricism. The themes of religion, good and evil, are clearly addressed. But it is clear that the poet's lyricism is rather vain in the hubbub of the masses. Around me thundered the deafening noise of the street, says the poem to a passerby. We are experiencing what has been called the eroticism of the separation, or rather the eroticism of non-encounter. Baudelaire knew that something in the empathy between people was changing with the advent of the big city. He would like to escape, invite others to travel, but know that the invitation is in vain. The imperialist character of globalization, of which everyone is well aware, shows its tentacular and fundamentally immoral nature. The accumulation of wealth and treasure does not present the wine of evil. The litanies of Satan, the great accuser, are a reminder of this. By giving into the temptation of the industrialization, the country has sold out its soul. Les Fleurs du Mal rewrites the Faustian Pact for the age of industry. Why is this collection of poems of interest to us today? The collection had a major influence on 20th century poetry in France, and even earlier. Arthur Rimbaud called Baudelaire a true god. Right up to the end of his life, Yves Bonnefoy referred to Les Fleurs du Mal as a founding collection. Walter Benjamin, a great reader of poetry in general, since he read and commented on Hölderlin and Bertolt Brecht, to name but 2 other massive examples, Walter Benjamin proposed numerous analyses of Baudelaire's poems. The most general problematization was that of the gap between lyric poetry and industrial modernization. Benjamin's reading is relatively comical in that it explores the poetry of the flowers of evil with a communist ideology and tends to place much more emphasis on denouncing the social perversion of society, a theme that is omnipresent, it is true in the collection, but much less on the religious character of Baudelaire's words. The question of evil is mainly addressed from the social point of view and not in itself. Jean-Paul Sartre and Georges Bataille did not adopt this kind of reading. The multiplicity of readings on the text shows its monadological aspect. As Leibniz says, the center is everywhere and the circumference nowhere. This means that you only have to unfold one poem to see the whole collection appear, but from different perspectives. We can start with Baudelaire's relationship to travel. For him, travel was a way of discovering the world. The collection deals with travel primarily in a form of a more or less dreamed of and fantasized invitation. Naturally, this is all fantasy, because Baudelaire was more or less incapable of traveling. He fell ill as soon as he left Paris, and the only trip he really undertook was to Belgium, where he shared nothing with the local people but merely mocked, despised, and insulted them. The poet was incapable of doing what he was inviting them to do, and was more or less aware of it. This part of his madness was, as usual, accompanied by the utmost lucidity. Baudelaire may have been mad, but the world he described in a very realistic way, that is to say, with an understanding of both the materiality and the dream content, was no less so. As Walter Benjamin put it, Baudelaire's Paris, the real Paris, is that of the fetishism of the commodity. With real phantasmagoria that we call the world is presented here with the greatest precision. It is not like Paris, not Paris that goes looking for the commodity, but the commodity that comes to Paris. It is enough to unfold the monad in question. Baudelaire wrote, "See on these canals those sleeping boats, whose mood is vagabond. It's to satisfy your least desire that they come from the world's end."